Okay, so this is my daughter's bed. It was a cot, but the idea is that we're going to upcycle it and turn it more into a bed for her. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it yet, because I'm not sure how it goes together, but the idea is to lower at least the bottom of the bed and take the back rails off, and maybe even lower the bed head as well. And the other thing that we've got is that the mattress is too small for the bed. So since she's had it, we've been using this just to pack it out. So I'm going to reduce the size of the bed down a little bit as well, just to make sure so that the mattress fits a little bit nicer, that we don't need to pack it out. And then when we've done that, we'll be painting it all with the frenchic paints. We're going to use a lazy range, and we're going to do the rest of the furniture with it as well. The lazy range is quite nice because you don't need to wax it afterwards, so you literally just paint it and then it's done. So let's get started. I've taken this apart, and there's a few things that I've noticed. First of all, that these screws, they're bolts actually, and they go into like a little nut that sits inside this wood. So if I cut this off, I can either re-drill it and then drill it this side and try and line it all up. But to be honest, it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to do that and get it right. So all I'm going to do, a quicker way of doing it, is literally just put some big screws in straight into this wood. It won't look nice on the end, but it'd be fine because we just fill it with some filler, because we're going to be painting the bed anyway, so that'll just cover that up. And the other thing is that this bed, it's a cot, and when we bought it, it was designed to be changed into a bed. And so it looks like it's got some bits here that I should be able to pull these bits apart. And if I can, then I'm probably just going to use this bit for the end of the bed, and then use this top bit as the top of the bed, just because I think that end's just a little bit too big really, and it'll be a little bit overpowering. Okay, so I've chopped these ends of the beds down to make it shorter, and now I've got to attach these to the bed head. I'm going to use these screws. I could probably use thicker screws to be honest, but these are the only ones I've got, which would be fine, but it just means I've got to put more of them in. So I'm going to put 3 of them in rather than 2 bigger ones. And when you're choosing the screw, you just need to make sure that you've got a good depth going into the wood. So I'll countersink these so they'll be a little bit further in, so that'll be about right. Now if I was to screw this straight into the wood, it would probably split, so the idea is that we countersink them, so we drill a pilot hole in order so that the screw can go in and not split the wood because it hasn't got enough room. So that's a bit big, that drill bit. Have we got? The drill bit doesn't need to be that big, it needs to be a lot smaller than the screw is. Right. I'll try that one. And the way that we're going to do it is, I could measure it and mark it. I'm not a great fan of measuring things. I didn't measure this wood actually, I just guessed it. terrible at that. The point is, as long as they're the same length, it doesn't really matter what the length is, but it's roughly the right size for the mattress. If I put one in to start with, so I'm roughly going to line it up with the holes that I've already got. I haven't drilled the hole very deep. I literally just did it just to line it up so that I know where that first one is. Okay, and it's important to remember that when you're screwing, that you don't screw down at an angle or this way or that way. You've got to keep it in line with the wood, and also with this I do it quite slowly as well. And it's important to keep a firm hold of the drill as well, because if it snags, it could rip it out your hand and break the drill bit. As you can see, I drilled it a bit and took it out and just got rid of the sawdust, because it can get a little bit clogged up when you're drilling. I'm just doing it this way. I'm just going to put one screw in. I'm using a power driver. Get the pipe and then just slightly countersink it like that. Okay, so that's locked in nicely. So now I've got that one done, I'll do the other one as it's in situ. I just need to make sure it's all lined up, and I've got this in the middle of the hole. Okay, obviously this didn't drill quite as deep as the other one, because I've had to go through this wood as well. It's fine. It's just enough for this to bite in, and then slightly countersink it again, and then we'll fill those holes. And when it's painted, you won't even see the screws, and that's why we're countersinking them as well. You need to go a few millimetres, enough so that you can get some filler in there. If you did it flush, then you'll still be able to see the screw after you filled it, so you need to make sure it's properly sunk in. And you don't need to use countersinks where you're drilling out some of the wood so that it goes flush, because this isn't it's not to be left as natural wood. It's going to be covered, it's going to be filled in and painted over, so this is a lot quicker this way. And if you're using something like an impact driver, it'll do it with no problem at all. Now, before I do the other side, I've got to cut down the bit that goes inside, because sometimes these beds, they come in with just like loose slats that go in, but this one is one fixed piece. It's still slats, but they're all fixed together. So I've got to cut a little bit of that down before we can drop it in. And I'm going to drop it in before I attach this side, because I just need to make sure that this is in the right place as well, so that it all fits nicely. Okay, so we tried the mattress. My guesstimating worked out quite well, because it fits quite nicely. But it does move about quite a lot. Obviously when it was a cot and it had the sides on, the mattress didn't move, but since we took one of the sides off and she's been using it as a bed, the mattress has been sliding around all over the place, and she wiggles so much in bed, it's quite often coming, she'll be on the floor with the mattress hanging off like that. So these bits that we took off the sides, that were the sides of the cot, I'm going to cut them and fix them in somewhere here, just so that the mattress fits in nicely and it doesn't slide off. And then we'll probably do the same with the end if I've got a bit that's long enough just to go in to stop the mattress coming this way. We've got the end on, we put these sides on, and we put a back bit on as well. So we put the mattress in, it fits in nicely. It's quite a snug fit. That's good. And now we're just going to give it a paint. Love letter, which is going to be the same colour as this. It's the lazy range, which is nice if you're lazy, because it means you ain't got to wax it. We're not going to distress it down or anything like that. We're literally just going to paint it, and then we're going to buff it up afterwards, just give it a bit of a sheen, take the short chalkiness off. And the frenchic paints are lovely to use. They're really nice paints. We can get cracking with that now.
Time for a cup of tea.
Yeah, tea break. Cheers. Just putting the first coat on. The first coat goes on nicely, will cover quite nicely. And the second coat would just be a really thin wash, just to cover up any little bits that are still showing through. And the second coat goes on really nicely as well. Okay, so just going to make some filler. I'm only mixing up a little bit, so I've got a few little holes to fill. I never measure it out, I always just guess it. And I tend to put the plaster in first, the powder in first, because it's easier. Adding the right quantity of water is easier than trying to add the right quantity of the powder, because the powder can come out in lumps. And you can mix it thinner than this, but the thicker you mix it, the stronger the final filler would be. So I tend to mix it quite thick. And also if you want to smooth it down, you can use a little bit of water afterwards. And it's a little bit better when you've got a thicker mix. So what we're doing, we've got the bed. It's had a couple of coats. Now, I tend to paint it before I put the filler on. A lot of people do it the other way. They fill all the bits first and then just paint over it afterwards. But what I find is once you've painted it, especially with its natural wood, is you see all the little bits that need filling a lot easier than you do if you try and fill all those holes first. Now, obviously this doesn't need any undercoat, this frenchic, so that's what I'd normally do, is you put the undercoat on, fill the holes, and then you go over it with your top coat. Because this doesn't need an undercoat, I just do it like this. Once I've filled all the holes, I just touch it up in those areas, and it's absolutely fine. And the reason is like this, there's a little crack here in the bed, and I didn't notice that until we painted it. It was kind of hidden within the grain. So if I'd have done all the filling and everything, then painted it, then I'd have to go back and fill this bit afterwards. So that's why I like to do it this way. We just use a nice small spatula knife. So ideally you want one with a flexible blade, okay? And then you're just pushing it in to those gaps. I'm at a bit of an awkward angle here, stretching over the bed. There we go. And then we just go around and fill all these holes. You push it in and then scrape a bit off, flush. Okay, I'm also doing the ends of the bed as well, because you can see the grain there. We should be able to get that reasonably flush on the top. Okay, and if you find that it does go a little bit dry, you need to smooth it off, you can add a little bit more water to it. And it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. Okay, it needs to fill the holes. It doesn't matter if it's slightly raised in areas because we'll be sanding it off anyway. Okay, so I'm just finishing the last little bit of filling now. I've used about half of what I mixed up. It's always better to mix more than you need. There's nothing more annoying than having to mix a bit more because you run out, and it's not very expensive, so it's fine. And the other thing about mixing it as well, I'm mixing it really thick because I'm filling on top of a painted surface. It's absolutely fine, but if you're trying to fill a porous surface, like if it's just bare wood like this that's not been treated, and you mix it up quite thick, you might find that sucks the moisture out of the plaster quite quickly, and makes it more difficult. So in those sort of situations, I would mix it a little bit more runny than this. Okay, you leave it about an hour to dry before you start sanding it down. Obviously, all the different fillers have different setting times. I'm using Polycell. Don't endorse it. It's just what we're using. They're all pretty much the same. I tend to use the powder that you have to mix with water rather than using the pre-mixed stuff because it just goes on nicer and I find it's easier to sand down and finish afterwards. But if you've got a little bit to do, sometimes it's easier just to get one of the pre-mixed ones and use that. Well, it can end up being a little bit more fiddly. Okay, so we did some sanding. Just use one of these little sanding pads. They're really fine. They can be used as wet and dry because they're sort of like spongy, but you don't want to use them wet on this, obviously. And just really lightly, you just go over and you're just brushing off that excess of plaster that was on there, plaster filler. That's it, just for a few seconds. You don't need to go overboard on it because it's the mixing one on powder. It's nice and easy to sand down. But as I say, if you use the one that's already mixed out of the pot, you might have to sand it a little bit more. But you won't need a coarse one. Okay, just a nice fine one like that. And then we just go over it, touch up as the original paint, and usually do it just one coat will be enough. Okay. And there we go. The bed's finished. Paint's not quite dry yet, so it looks a little bit patchy. Okay, so this is the finished product, and as you can see there, we've added a little stencil of a butterfly, and it's to tie it in with some of the other furniture that we've been painting at the same time, which has also got the little butterfly stencils. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and hope to catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you found it useful, and don't forget, if you want to see more and get the latest updates, subscribe below. And why not check out our Academy page? If you love DIY and upcycling furniture, you'll love the professional online courses we have available. Until next time, see ya!